Hello everyone, my name is Angelica Sandry, and today we will be talking about chocolate chip cookies and chemistry. In this presentation, we will be turning baking terminology into chemistry terminology. We'll be talking about a chemical reaction that occurs in chocolate chip cookies and the stoichiometry of a chocolate chip cookie recipe. For transforming baking terminology into chemistry terminology, I created a chart with the baking terminology, chemistry terminology, and even some of the chemical formulas for some of the ingredients. We have sugar, which can be considered sucrose, with a chemical formula of C12H22O11. We have brown sugar, which is sugar and flavor with the same chemical formula as brown sugar. Brown sugar and sugar are completely different ingredients in the baking world, but for chemistry, they are quite similar. We have butter, which can be considered fat. We have egg, which is a combination of albumin, fat, and protein. We have flour, which can be considered gluten. We have baking soda, which can be considered sodium bicarbonate with a chemical formula of NaHCO3. And for both baking terminology and chemistry terminology, salt is the same for both, with a chemical formula of NaCl. And finally, we have chocolate chips, which are just considered flavor for chemistry terminology. All right, now I want to talk about the chemical reaction that happens in chocolate chip cookies. This reaction is sodium bicarbonate being broken down into sodium carbonate, water, and carbon dioxide. This reaction occurs in the oven after you mix all of your ingredients together and place them on a cookie sheet. When the baking soda absorbs heat, this chemical reaction occurs. The carbon dioxide from the reaction can be seen from the bubbles in the cookie. The salt slows down the production of the carbon dioxide and prevents the bubbles from becoming bigger. All right, and finally I want to talk about the stoichiometry of a chocolate chip cookie recipe. Stoichiometry is the relationship between the relative quantities of substances taking part in a reaction or forming a compound. So the ingredients on the left would be the relative quantities of the cookies. And we are trying to make, for this recipe, a dozen cookies. Now on the right, I have the ratios written out for the recipe to give us 1 dozen cookies. Now let's say if you wanted half a dozen cookies, you would need half as many of all the ingredients. And then if you wanted twice as many cookies, which would be 2 dozen cookies, you would need twice as many ingredients for the recipe. And this slide just shows what happens if you play around with the ingredients, if you add too much, if you add too little, if you overbake it, or if you don't handle the ingredients properly. And to summarize, baking terminology can be transformed into chemistry terminology. Chemical reactions can occur in chocolate chip cookies, and stoichiometry can be helpful when baking chocolate chip cookies. Thank you so much for watching.